Here at Forge. Oh, I'll start again. Um, Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining. My name is Giancarlo Barros, and I'm one of the managing partners here at Forge Recruitment. The purpose of this webinar, so AI possibilities, is to have you consider the different possibilities for how you can use AI in your firm's practice or in your firm in general. And the reason we kind of wanted to put on this webinar is every year we put together an annual report called Inside the Recruiter's Room. And this year, the one we released, we found that almost 2/3 of law firms stated that they are exploring ways to utilize AI in their firms. So they didn't really have an idea necessarily of what to do with it, but they were starting to think about it. And I think when you think of AI and legal, often your minds automatically kind of go to some of the stories that have come out of the news. So example, that one US lawyer who utilized ChatGPT and ended up making up that made up legal case. But the reality is that at the end of the day, AI is simply a tool, and that tool needs to have oversight. But if used properly, that tool can increase efficiencies and save you money. And so AI can be used in recruitment. So if you're recruiting for your firm or your team, can write job descriptions. It can compare resumes to job descriptions. It can create interview questions based on a specific resume. You can use it in training and onboarding. You can use it to save time and cut costs when it comes to administration. And you can also use it a lot when it comes to marketing and business development. So today, our guest is Jim Hutzenberger, founder of Tuna Neutron AI. With over 2 decades of expertise in tech and digital marketing for law firms, Jim has evolved from building computers in his basement to leading a top-managed IT business. After selling his IT firm, he founded a successful digital marketing agency and then pivoted to AI, becoming a pioneer certified AI consultant. Today, Jim is going to focus on using AI. Specifically, he's going to touch on utilizing it for marketing and BD and administration purposes for your firm or practice. But if you are interested in using AI in some of the other avenues that I mentioned, you can connect with Jim directly afterwards. Before I turn it over to Jim, just some housekeeping. So for those who have questions, we will do a 5 to 10 minute question period after the presentation. However, if I could ask if you can either enter your questions in the chat or email Alexis, who's on this webinar, Alexis Mandarano on our team. She's going to be our question master. So if Alexis, if you can put your email in the chat, anyone who has any questions can email Alexis directly, and then we'll touch upon it after. Okay, so I will now turn it over to Jim.
Thank you, Giancarlo, for the wonderful introduction. And yes, I'm Jim Punzenberger, and I'm here to help you understand how you can leverage artificial intelligence to grow your practice. Just would like to understand a little bit more about the audience today. If you could just put in the chat the city that you're joining us from, that would be great. I'd just like to, I know there's people, I think there's possibly people from, I'm in the US, I'm in Wisconsin myself. I know there's people in Ontario and other areas. So I see Toronto in the chat. So if you could just include the city that you're joining us from, that'd be great. And the other question I have for you is, what is your practice area? I know you probably have law firms on here that have a myriad of practice areas. So I'm just curious to know what your specific practices areas are. If you put those down in the chat, that would be great also. And so we'll get started. And if you've never even used AI before, or if you have, you're in the right place. What are some of the challenges when it comes to law firms and partners of law firms? Maybe it's not even a partner, maybe you're just an associate. Everybody is overworked in the practice, typically doing your partner. Maybe you're doing everything yourself, and there might be trading time for money. So the really, it's not uncommon for everybody to be on the brink of burnout. What are some more challenges of law firms? You need constant, new, fresh, new, engaging content for your marketing. You require high quality writers for web pages, emails, ads, etc. And you might also be struggling to find affordable, reliable talent. Might this be admin, legal, marketing, or other talent? And then you're forced to choose between two in the business paradigm really of good, fast, or cheap. So, and when we're talking about the business paradigm, this is really the old way of picking two of the three options. And if it's something's good and fast, it's expensive, it's good and cheap, it's slow to do. Something is fast and cheap, that's typically a low quality. And really, we're settling for subpar results here. You end up overpaying between uh, with the historical business paradigm of you can only pick two. But now there's a new way with AI. With AI, where good, fast, and cheap all come together and produce high quality. So I'm really excited to be sharing this with you today. And thanks to AI, I can do this. We can do this and use it, utilize AI to produce things good, fast, and cheap at a high quality. So, how are law firms leveraging AI? And really, the concept of AI employees. We can create human-like AI employees within your practice. They can perform a myriad of tasks, including admin, marketing, and casework tasks. AI delivers high-quality work at unprecedented speeds, and it's a fractional cost of traditional employees or vendors. We're talking pennies when before we'd be talking dollars. Now getting into the concept of an AI persona. What is an AI persona? Really, a AI persona it's a AI that's trained to mimic your voice, your style, your tone. They're constantly learning and improving, and they're available 24/7. AI won't, it never takes breaks, never goes on holiday. They're scalable to meet your growing business needs. A little bit more on AI personas. Like I mentioned, they never call in sick, never disappear, and never roll their eyes when you ask them to make a revision or try something again. This is one of the things when I'm working with employees or staff or even vendors sometimes. I know that if I'm asking for a revision or something, that it might come with some uh, angst, and that never happens with AI. And the best part, especially in this tight labor market, the AI will never ask for a raise. So AI personas can have many different roles, but here's a handful of them. Typical role might be a law clerk, email marketer, customer service, HR manager, contract writing. Another role could be case law researcher, SEO consultant, sales messenger, virtual receptionist. This is a one that is getting more and more popular, and intake and workflow specialist. So if you have any, well, really, it's AI personas can be vast and perform many different tasks within your firm. Just diving a little bit deeper into the example of a marketing copywriter persona, for example, some of the things or tasks that it can perform, create campaign ideas, learn your brand voice, really mimic your copy style. And if you don't have great copy or great marketing in place, that's not a problem. We can train the AI to put that in place. And so if you have examples of your previous marketing that is effective, we can train the AI on that. Or if we don't, we can train the AI to produce those things for you. Either way, we got you covered.
Jim,
Yes.
can I jump in here? So how do they, so the AI persona can take on any kind of personality type you want it to, but how do you create that? Are you uploading previous data to create this AI identity?
Well, there is multiple options for doing this. One is creating, like you mentioned, providing data to for it to mimic, to learn from, and mimic and replicate. Essentially, it could be previous, well, in the application of law, maybe it's you wanting to write agreements, and we've been writing agreements for the last 30 years or whatever it is that you've been in practice, and we have hundreds or thousands of agreements of a certain type. We can provide those to the AI. The AI can analyze those and replicate them, feed it whatever the pertinent data it is to create the new agreement from. Or we can have basically the AI create questions that you answer, and then based on answering the questions, the AI can take a persona. So if you don't have the data, if there isn't existing data to work from, that's not a problem. We can use the AI to create questions that we then feed into, or the answers to the questions that we then feed into the AI, and those can turn into a persona also.
So in this example, so like the marketing copywriter, you can either have it create ideas for you, or you can create a persona like that's on brand with your firm or your practice, and either by uploading previous content ideas or by answering the questions. And then once you have that persona, it'll produce ideas in line with whatever brand you're trying to kind of create or continue to go down.
Yes. Um,
Yeah.
or we
Perfect.
can just have it ask the question that needed to be answered to basically create a brand from. So there's uh there's flexibility there.
Thank you.
So some other, tasks that it can perform. We mentioned so Facebook posts, Instagram captions, creating images and carousels. All these images you see on this presentation were all created by AI, even the ones of me. So those the first slide and some slides coming up, you'll see some images of me that were all generated by AI. It was never actually in those environments. Um, it can create engaging comments on your posts. It can create comments on Google reviews, many different things. We're just having a hiccup with the slide deck here. Let me get to the next slide. Uh, Key areas for AI in your law firm or for using it within your law firm. Uh, like as we mentioned, content creation, blog posts, images, creatives, uh, a myriad of content. We use in casework, analyze documents, do case law research, contract writing, brief drafting, interrogatories, drafting interrogatory questions. And we're really just this is just the tip of the iceberg, so to speak, of the things that AI can do within your practice. And don't forget about customer support. Um, Chatbots is something that I'm going to be talking about in the next couple of slides. Um, in, like I mentioned before, virtual receptionists, they're developing areas of AI that law firms are starting to utilize. Even can be used for drafting email responses. Um, and like research, and as John Carlo mentioned before, HR is a function that AI can handle or help with ideation and more.
And Jim, I just want to elaborate on the HR piece because that's how Jim and I crossed paths. So Jim helped us integrate AI into our recruitment practice. Um, and again, like from the concept of having resumes compared to job descriptions and picking out things that maybe might be a match, might not be a match. And I find this useful when we're hiring our junior staff and for training purposes. But it can even generate specific interview questions for you based on the resume and the job description. And so sometimes I find not HR is very good at interviewing, but sometimes some of the lawyers, the partners at firms may not necessarily they don't interview all the time. And so sometimes what questions specifically to ask an individual might be difficult. So I think being able to generate interview questions through the AI is really helpful. So I think that's kind of something, but I'll pass over to Jim.
Thank you, John Carlo. And I'm now just going to talk briefly about chatbots and really website chatbots. So some of the capabilities of a website chatbot, or I guess really should start out with what is a website chatbot. Some of you may be familiar with them, some of you may not, but it's really a widget on your website that customers can have conversations with. And so they can, uh, what's already on the screen here, questions and intake as can be used for really provide instant responses about practice and basic legal questions. Yeah, obviously we don't want them to be giving legal advice, but they can be answering general legal questions. They can be used to capture and qualify lead information. This is an area that I find a lot of my clients are really have struggled with in the past. It's very typical for law firms to get a lot of traffic to their website and capture a lot of leads that are really, quite frankly, garbage to them. They're not in their practice area, or they're not in the geography they need them to be in, or they're just questions that general legal questions that somebody have, but they don't really have the need for your services. So the chatbots are great at fielding these questions. Also, they can schedule appointments with your human representatives and your staff, whether that be yourself or another associate. They also integrate with other systems. If your CRM system, maybe you're using a case management system like Clio or Filevine or one of the others, chatbots integrate with other systems seamlessly to share the information between them. And like I mentioned, um, help and support can be provided to clients and prospects through the chatbots. The one of the great things about the chatbots is that they know 50 languages and can answer questions in any of the languages that it knows. Immigration is really a big thing now. And with the immigration, the AI can answer questions or produce documents, things like that, in myriad of languages and translate them also. So like the chatbot, if somebody it's French speaking and they can have a conversation with the bot in French, and the bot was trained originally in English, the bot will just translate the the English information to French and provide it to uh, the prospect or client in French, for example. They also can be used for guiding users through your intake process, and also can escalate complex issues to human staff if it's something that the AI can't handle. Here's a example of a chatbot widget on a website. It's a client of ours. It's a personal injury attorney, and you can see down here in the bottom right-hand corner, this is the chatbot. Here is an example of the chatbot having an interaction with a prospect. It's answering a question, in this case of, well, do I need a will if I'm single? So how can we future-proof your practice with AI personas? As we mentioned before with the business paradigm and the shift to it now with AI, we can produce things that are good, fast, and cheap. Get better marketing and casework without breaking the bank. Free up your time and resources to focus on growing your firm, and or even golfing or whatever you'd like to do with your free time if it's not really, if you're looking for more free time outside of work. And of course, getting more cases and growing your profit margins of those cases. So here's some real world results of ways that we've helped clients with AI. Just mentioned Sally Morgan, not Morgan, I'm sorry, Sally Morin. Sorry, Sally, for mispronouncing your name. But we're using AI with her practice to get on first page of Google, writing blog posts that are ranking in the first page of Google in 2 days. Another example is a client, Black Hills Law, using AI to summarize documents. In the past, their staff would take hours to review and summarize documents, and the AI now does it in minutes. Ottawa Law, we talked about the multilingual capabilities of the AI, and we're able to use it to convert, specifically in this case, documents to French from English, seeing that this client practices in Ottawa and has clients that are French speaking. Another example of client, Nelson Kirkman, they went from paying $4,000 per month for a copywriter to $20 a month for a chat GPT. Another example is what Giancarlo mentioned, was using it for HR tasks. How has it really affected you guys with using it for HR functions, Giancarlo?
Yeah, it's been a big help. So we have it we actually have it summarizing resumes, because we'll do summary notes for our clients. We have it compare things, create interview questions. Again, like I said, it helps a lot junior people. And then this recent ChatGPT upgrade has made things a lot faster. And I think one thing to note too is a lot of people, like there's a lot of companies out there that will sell you AI software that's very, very expensive. And I find like you can you can get people like Jim to build things at a very cost-friendly way. So I think for smaller businesses, it's perfect. So yeah, we've had a lot of success with it. We're
Yeah,
really
and
happy with it.
most of the expensive software out there is really just fancy. They just have a fancy way to access ChatGPT. Is
It,
what most of the cases of the expensive AI software out there. It's just a fancy way to access ChatGPT, and they just know
yeah,
how to
yeah.
train ChatGPT to get it produce what you want, and we can get you the same results without having to pay for the fancy software, just by knowing how to train ChatGPT to do the same thing ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Like some of the quotes you get out there are ludicrous. And then again, you realize, but I can have this built for whatever the cost to build the function is, and then $20 a month at ChatGPT, and it's like that's it. But no, we've had a lot of success with it.
Cool. Happy to hear. So I wanted to offer you guys a bonus here. You know, when I talked to John Carlo, he said no pitching, but I figured it'd be okay if I gave you guys something away for free. So here, what I want to do is do a little demonstration here. Maybe you've seen ChatGPT in action, maybe you haven't. Maybe you've heard use the persona, maybe you haven't. But what I'm going to do is do a quick demonstration here of a basic ChatGPT lawyer persona that I've created. I have also created a template document that you can take and use and fill in the blanks and create your own basic persona. Wanted to give you guys something here that you can take action with. Let me just get into ChatGPT here to do a demonstration. So really, at the basic form, a AI persona, it's a bunch of text. This is one that I created of a civil defense attorney. Um, Basically, what I'm going to demonstrate is how ChatGPT can take a legal complaint. This is an actual complaint from a case. And in this case, the city of Chicago is a defendant. It's like a police misconduct, civil, uh, civil liberties case. This document is just under 50 pages. And so I'm going to feed ChatGPT this persona here, and then I have it analyze this document. So I'm just going to just copy the persona and paste it into ChatGPT here. And it's now taking the persona that I gave it. I'm going to take my prompt here that I wrote. It's a pretty simple prompt to analyze this document, summarize the document in detailed bullet points, write it in terms a non-lawyer would understand, then display the same data in columns of pertinent facts, legal precedents, possible defenses, recommended actions, and timelines of actions, including dates and deadlines for the city of Chicago. So basically, we're taking the persona of a civil rights law firm that would be representing the city of Chicago. So what I'm going to do here is paste the prompt, and we're going to feed ChatGPT the document, the Word document. And then we're going to hit enter here and watch it in action. So it's already analyzed this 50-page document, almost 50 pages, and it's summarizing it, and going to give us a column with facts, precedents, possible defenses, recommended actions, and timelines. So John Carlo,
And,
how
and
long do you think it would take you to analyze a
no,
50-page
and
document?
and I think like that's the thing. Like obviously this still needed to be reviewed. You're not sending this in or doing anything with it, but it just makes it a lot easier, and we see how fast it is. And I think for those not familiar with ChatGPT, again, it comes down to like the prompts too. The prompts are what you're telling it to do, and then it does it, which is very, very cool. And that was again like seconds. So very
So
cool.
yes, and so I have this document here that if you want it, I'll just paste this link into the chat. We can possibly email it out to you also, the link.
Yeah,
So,
I think for everyone who registered, Jim has again like just as an example prompt to kind of you can use. So we'll email it out to you. Um,
and
but
so
yeah,
yeah, so if you want this document, here's the link. I will also email out the link. You just fill in the form and you'll get the document instantly. It's right here, this is a basic lawyer persona template, so you can fill in the blanks here and use it yourself. And then here's some sample prompts that you could use with it that I provided or created for you. Um, and so that's uh, um, an example of using an AI persona in action. Uh, then moving on, also I have one more offer for you or bonus because also offering for anybody on the um, webinar here an AI persona assessment. Basically, if you fill out the form, I'm going to provide another link. I'll assess your specific needs and goals and provide you with a plan for creating human-like AI employees for your business. And we'll let me paste that link here into the chat. So you have that also.
Okay. And again, the purpose of this was just to show that there's different ways. I think AI is so brand new, you can choose to ignore it, but then you might get left behind. But if you can start thinking of, hey, can we implement it this way? Um, I'm kind of old school. I don't think it's going to necessarily be replacing um, people or things necessarily, but I think I always look at it when LinkedIn first came out. A lot of people thought it'd be the end of recruitment because everyone had access to LinkedIn, and then LinkedIn just became a tool that recruiters used. And it's the same thing with AI. So thank you, Jim. We're going to go to questions. Just want to be cognizant of time. Alexis, any questions that have come through to you?
Yeah, we have two questions. So the first question is, what AI is the best? ChatGPT, Microsoft, and what would you recommend?
Well, it really depends on the application of what you're looking to use it for. Different AIs have different strengths and weaknesses. So depending on, I don't know if whoever asked that is still on, if they could like clarify as far as what they're looking, like what tasks they want the AI to do, that would help. As far as legal tasks, ChatGPT is typically the strongest currently. And the other thing about the AI ads is they're all developing, they're all rapidly changing, and so like the best to do one task today, it might be something different tomorrow, essentially. And that, um, like John Carlo just mentioned, Chat GPT, what was it, a week or two ago, just released the version 4.0, which has provided much greater capabilities. And for most things right now, Chat GPT took the lead with that. As far as some more creative works, Claude is another AI out there that is tends to perform better than ChatGPT at creative writing tasks. There's Meta AI that is it's pretty good at creating images. A lot of these images that you see were created by Meta AI. But there isn't just one. I wouldn't say there's one AI that is best. It's really depends on what your tasks you're trying to use it for.
Awesome, thank you. And our second question is, how does the AI receptionist work?
So AI receptionist is essentially what it is, a voice bot. So either you can make basically answer phone calls and answer questions, just like the website bot. Basically performs all the same functions that we talked about with the website bot, but it has the voice capabilities. And so if somebody calls, it can be like call your firm, and the virtual receptionist can answer and answer questions, direct calls, schedule consultations, collect information. Um,
And, and the voices you can make sound like anybody, right? That's like the issue going on right now with Scarlett Johansson suing I think ChatGPT, right? Because they wanted to use her voice. She said no, and then they literally got the AI to sound exactly like her.
yes, well, the right now for like the receptionists that we're offering, there's um, a few different voices you can choose from, but ultimately, yes, like the voice capabilities, there's you can mimic people, mimic a voice, you can train it. Um, you can train there's tools where you can talk, like for example, if you wanted the AI to mimic your voice, you would like read it a book, for example, and then it would take that and mimic you, and the AI would sound just like you.
Very cool. Very cool. Um, okay, Alexis, is that it? Alexis?
Yep, those are all the questions.
Okay. Okay, so we ran a little bit late, but thank you. Thank you, Jim. Thank you very much for the presentation. Thank you everyone for attending. As mentioned, we will send you an email with some of the examples that Jim had. And then if you want to reach out to him to discuss more about AI, you can reach out directly to him. But thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate your time and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everybody. My pleasure.